My child, I have watched you walk through shadows dressed in daylight. You wear the hours with grace, but your soul is quietly fraying at the edges. There are no visible wounds, yet you feel yourself leaking strength you never agreed to spend. You've been applauded for how well you carry everything, but you were never created to carry it all. Even in your silence, I have been near. Even when your mind was too tired to form prayers, your spirit spoke to me. I was there when you got up again, without motivation. When you smiled for others but sighed in private. When you kept going without clarity, not because you saw the point, but because giving up wasn't an option you allowed yourself to consider. I saw every moment they missed. I heard the whispers you didn't even say aloud. You've been taught to equate function with health, performance with strength, routine with stability. But surviving is not the same as living. Just because you knew how to show up doesn't mean you weren't unraveling inside. I don't just see what you do, I feel what it costs you. And I want to say this clearly. I have not overlooked your pain. I have not been absent from your process. I have been walking alongside you step by fragile step, even when it felt like no one noticed. And I want to expose something. You've been holding up a version of strength that's unsustainable. A strength that isolates, that hides, that pretends. That is not the strength I give. You've learned how to endure. You've mastered the art of being the one others can rely on. But somewhere in all this giving, you forgot that you are also my child, not just my servant. I never asked you to disappear in order to serve. I never asked you to exhaust yourself for the sake of appearance. I called you to walk with me, not run ahead trying to prove your worth. Your worth was never in question. Not once. Not even in your darkest hour. There is a deep fatigue that cannot be cured by sleep. A soul tiredness that no vacation, no distraction, no human affirmation can reach. You know that ache intimately. It is not laziness. It is not lack of faith. It's the sound of your spirit calling you back home, to me. You have become efficient at functioning under pressure, but I did not design you for performance. I designed you for presence. You've been longing for something you couldn't name, a deeper kind of alignment, a quieter kind of strength. That longing is the doorway I'm now opening. Let me tell you this plainly. Every step you've taken mattered. Even the ones you wish you could erase. Even the ones that led you through fire. Even the ones where you felt directionless. You are not off track. You're not too late. I use everything, especially what feels like waste. Nothing is wasted in my hands. Nothing is meaningless under my gaze. Even in confusion, I have been weaving purpose. There is a weight you've carried that you never signed up for. Emotional loads passed down, expectations absorbed without consent, silent burdens normalized by culture and religion. You have silently believed that being tired is just a sign of maturity. That pain is proof you're growing. But hear me, pain is a teacher, yes, but it is not your identity. Your essence is not built from wounds. It is revealed in restoration. And I am restoring you. Not just to usefulness, but to wholeness. Do not confuse the absence of applause with the absence of purpose. Much of what I build in you, I do in silence. I do in hiddenness. Because some roots grow deeper in the dark. You haven't been ignored. You've been prepared. And even though you've walked without clarity, I have been behind every detail. Every conversation that left you confused, every disappointment that shook your confidence, every delayed answer, it all has meaning. Now is the time I begin to speak into what felt like silence. I will reveal what I've been growing in you while you thought you were stuck. The world measured your progress by movement. I measure it by surrender. And in the stillness, you've grown more than you know. The detours were not disqualifications. They were deep recalibrations. You are not behind. You are becoming. You've questioned if any of it mattered, if the nights of wrestling, the hours of showing up, the decision to not shut down were seen by me. And I answer you now, yes, every single one. You're not invisible to me. You never were. And what you thought was wasted time was sacred ground. The process you tried to rush, I was in it. The prayers you thought bounced off the ceiling, I caught every one. The tears you wiped before anyone could see, I counted them like treasure. I am the God who wastes nothing. And now I'm calling you to lift your head, because even the broken roads led you here. Every step has meaning. Every scar holds a story, and I will not let one part of your journey be lost in vain. You have walked long enough, thinking you were just surviving. But I tell you now, you are always being led. You're not alone. You're not abandoned. And your story is just beginning. You've believed some lies for so long, they started sounding like truth. Lies dressed in discipline. Lies whispered in the voice of fear. Lies that told you your worth was in your ability to endure, that being needed was the same as being loved, that if you weren't producing, you weren't valuable. But today, I'm shining a light on them, not to shame you, but to free you. I never said that survival was the same as strength. I never said you had to earn rest. I never told you that being emotionally available to everyone else meant being spiritually mature. Those expectations didn't come from me. There is a form of spiritual exhaustion that comes from trying to be what you think I want instead of simply being with me. You have mistaken religious effort for relationship. You have equated relentless service with deep connection. But I am not impressed by performance. I'm moved by presence. I don't need your rituals if they disconnect you from your soul. I don't want your devotion if it costs you your peace. I'm after your heart, not your schedule. I want your attention, not your exhaustion. You've believed that to be holy means to be constantly poured out, constantly available, constantly doing. But you were never designed to live as a vessel without rhythm, without margin. Even in my design of creation, I built in rest. Even my son withdrew to quiet places. So why have you believed that burnout is a badge of honor? Why have you trusted more in hustle than in healing? Let me be clear. The lie that tells you your value is tied to your utility is not just harmful. It's spiritual theft. It robs you of joy. It disconnects you from me. And it turns you into a machine when I created you as a living soul. I formed you for communion, not for continuous output. I made you to walk with me, not to sprint alone until you collapse. And here's the truth you've needed to hear. You are not what you do. You are not what drained you. You are not the label others gave you. You are my beloved. You carry my image. You bear my breath in your lungs. And nothing can reduce your value. Not failure, not fatigue, not the season of obscurity you've just come through. You've let titles define you. You've let roles consume you. But none of those things can name you correctly. Only I can. And I say this now. You're enough, not because of your efforts, but because of my presence in you. Somewhere along the way, you equated being indispensable with being loved. But love is not earned through usefulness. Real love sees you even when you bring nothing to the table. Real love stays even when you have no answers. And that's the love I've always given you. You've been chasing a form of acceptance that's already yours. You've run yourself into weariness, trying to prove something that was never in question. I know how much you want to be faithful. I know how deeply you desire to honor me. But there's a thin line between commitment and captivity, and some of what you called loyalty was actually fear. Fear of losing your place. Fear of being forgotten. Fear that if you stopped, everything would fall apart. But listen to me. I hold it all. You do not need to be the glue that holds your world together. That's my role. I am the sustainer. You are the beloved. And beloveds don't earn, they receive. It's time to trade your exhaustion for alignment. Time to let go of self-imposed pressures and return to the simple rhythm of being with me. I didn't call you to spiritual perfection. I called you to spiritual intimacy. I'm not keeping a record of how well you've performed your faith. I'm holding your hand, waiting for you to let me walk with you in your weakness, your confusion, your grief. I want to be your God in the unedited moments, not just the polished ones. You have more value than you realize, not because of how others respond to you, not because of how much you do, not because of how consistent you've been, but because I chose you. Before the striving, before the burnout, before the applause and the silence, I chose you. And now I'm choosing to confront the lies that keep you small, tired, and unseen. I'm confronting the pace that's wearing you out. I'm confronting the systems that reward burnout and ignore inner decay. Because I want you whole, not just functional. I want you healed, not just held together. And I want you to finally see yourself as I do. Beloved, worthy, already enough. You've been asking yourself why the ache runs so deep, why even in moments of peace you carry a quiet weight in your chest. And I will answer you, not to overwhelm you, but to liberate you. The pain you feel is not random. It has roots, spiritual, emotional, generational. What you've been pushing through is not just stress. It's the residue of agreements you made in survival seasons. It's the buildup of trying to be everything for everyone while losing track of yourself. And it's the spiritual consequence of living without margin for me. You've learned to live in response to pressure instead of in alignment with purpose. That pattern wasn't born from rebellion. It was formed in survival. You adapted. You built a system to stay afloat. But survival is not the same as freedom. You've normalized exhaustion and named it faithfulness. But true faithfulness includes rest. It includes joy. It includes breathing room for my voice. Part of your inner fatigue comes from living with constant spiritual noise. The expectations of people, the unspoken rules of performance, the cultural scripts that taught you your value was conditional. They filled your mind and dulled your sensitivity to me. You are not broken, but you are overloaded. And there's a difference. You don't need to try harder. You need to unplug from what is not mine. Many of your emotional patterns are echoes of a deeper issue, a distorted view of me. Somewhere, you began to see me as someone you had to impress, someone always measuring your performance, someone silently disappointed when you didn't meet the invisible bar. But I am not like them. I don't keep score. I keep covenant. I don't assign worth based on output. I assign it based on creation. You were mine before you did anything for me. You are mine still. What's been wearing you out isn't just what you're doing. It's how you're carrying it. You've been bearing things that don't belong to you. Emotions that aren't yours. Responsibilities that were never assigned by me. You've inherited expectations from religion, from family, from culture, and they've coated your spirit like heavy dust. But I'm blowing it off now. I'm exposing the real weight behind the weariness. It's misalignment. Not moral failure, not lack of love. Misalignment. Even your spiritual practices have become more about keeping yourself from falling apart than drawing near to me. You pray out of desperation, not delight. You worship to survive, not to connect. And that is not your fault. But it's not your home either. I am inviting you out of that space, not to shame you, but to recalibrate you. You've also been affected by invisible agreements. things your spirit said yes to in moments of pain. Like, I have to always be strong. I can't need anyone. If I stop, I'll fall apart. No one is coming to rescue me. These are not conscious decisions. They are survival vows. But survival vows don't build healthy lives. They build cages. And I am breaking those cages now, one by one. I am rewriting the inner scripts that told you pain is your proof of purpose. Your purpose is not to carry pain. It is to carry presence. My presence. Some of what you called discernment was actually fear. Some of what you thought was loyalty was actually self-abandonment. And I say that not to condemn, but to clarify. I want you to see how far you've come, carrying things you were never equipped to hold. And now, I'm asking you to release them. You don't need to defend that old identity anymore. You don't need to prove your strength by tolerating emotional starvation. You don't need to minimize your needs to be loved. Much of your spiritual exhaustion also comes from fighting invisible enemies without naming them. Shame disguised as humility. Control disguised as stewardship. Anxiety disguised as alertness. But I'm giving you new eyes to see. I'm exposing the camouflage of your enemies. I'm calling them by their real names so you can take authority. You are not weak. You've just been misinformed. And I am now becoming your reinformer. I'm healing the spaces you never let anyone see, the quiet beliefs you held in your gut, the silent rules you followed without realizing. I'm not only healing your outer life, I'm restoring your internal compass. You've known me as the God who provides, who protects, who sustains. Now you will know me as the God who recalibrates. So let's name the truth. You are tired, not because you failed. You are tired because you adapted too long. You are weary, not because you are weak. You are weary because you cared more deeply than anyone knew. And you continued to carry what should have been surrendered. But today, I give you permission to set it down. You're not alone in this restoration. I am with you, not just as comfort, but as clarity. I will teach you how to walk again, not as one trying to earn, but as one who already belongs. The ache in you was not a sign of distance from me. It was a signal that you were close to a turning point. And now, it begins. There have already been moments, small, almost imperceptible, where the shift began. You may not have recognized them as sacred, but I was in them. The sigh you let out after saying no when you usually say yes. That was me. The peace you felt in a place that once triggered your anxiety, that was my spirit settling the atmosphere around you. The morning you woke up with just a little more stillness inside, even without answers. That was my mercy giving your soul breathing room. Do not underestimate these signs. They are not coincidences. They are evidence. I am already at work. You are not waiting for me to begin. I already began. You are not asking for something I've withheld. You are learning how to receive what I've been pouring all along. The shift is not something you have to strive for. It's something you're already standing in. The tension you feel now isn't the end. It's the stretching of new roots being planted beneath you. It's the sound of old chains loosening, of your identity adjusting to fit the truth again. I promised I would never leave you, and I haven't. Even when your clarity vanished. Even when you questioned whether you were still walking the right path. I didn't need your certainty to keep my covenant. I was never confused about who you are, even when you forgot. And now I'm awakening what has long been asleep. The parts of you that shut down in fatigue. The dreams you buried under obligation. The confidence that eroded in rooms where your worth was overlooked. I'm breathing life back into them now. Not with pressure, but with promise. Here is what I want you to know with full conviction. Your healing has already started. Not in some distant future, not as a reward for better behavior, not when your environment finally improves, but now, quietly, faithfully, right in the middle of your current reality. Every boundary you've started to draw, every time you protected your peace instead of people-pleasing, every moment you said, "I don't have to carry this anymore," those were signs of resurrection. I am making you new. The way forward will not look like the hustle you've known. It will look like alignment. It will feel like clarity. It will taste like rest. You will not have to strive for my favor. It will meet you where surrender begins. You will notice how your discernment sharpens when you are no longer rushing. You will find that your peace becomes your compass. I will speak through the ease, not just the fire. And my presence will not only come in dramatic encounters, it will rest on your ordinary moments. There are promises unfolding right now. Some in your body, a release of tension you didn't know you were holding. Some in your mind, less reactivity, more groundedness. Some in your relationships, a quiet exposure of what drains you and what nourishes you. This is not about escaping the hard, but recognizing the grace that's already flowing. You're learning the difference between what requires endurance and what simply no longer belongs. I know you still have questions. I know you're still looking for signs that your life is going somewhere meaningful. So let me give you one. Your heart has started to respond again. Not with adrenaline, but with awareness. Not with panic, but with presence. This is the fruit of divine interruption. You didn't need a full roadmap. You needed reorientation. And now that you are seeing again, slowly, gently, I will continue guiding you step by step, not in chaos, but in cadence. You may still face resistance, but it will not define you. You may still have responsibilities, but they will no longer drown you. You may still walk through unknowns, but you will do it with me, not from a place of striving, but from a posture of trust. The evidence of healing is not always visible at first. It often comes as capacity. Capacity to pause, to say no, to feel, to stay rooted when the world pulls. And that capacity is increasing in you now. Do not measure your progress by the pace of others. What I am building in you is not quick. It is eternal. This new phase of your journey is not about performing better. It's about receiving deeper. You will begin to notice me not just in your breakthroughs, but in your breathing. You will begin to sense my hand in spaces that once felt spiritually numb. I am restoring your ability to recognize me again, not as a distant concept, but as your constant rhythm. This is your sign. Peace is returning. Clarity is breaking through. The atmosphere around your life is changing, and the shift is not just internal, it will have visible echoes. You will notice people responding differently. You will walk into places that once intimidated you and feel authority rise within you. Not the kind that demands to be seen, but the kind that carries stillness as power. Do not shrink back now. Do not second guess what I've already confirmed in your spirit. You are not being dramatic. You're being delivered. What you feel shifting is real. What you sense breaking is true. And I will finish what I started. My word over you does not expire, and every promise I whispered in the dark will now begin to unfold in the light. Now that you are awakening to the truth, it's time to bring this transformation into the fabric of your life, not as more tasks, not as pressure disguised as purpose, but as alignment. What I'm building in you is not an emotional high. It's a new, internal architecture. And for it to last, it must reach into your rhythm, into how you breathe, how you move, how you begin your days and carry your nights. Let's start with your body. You've pushed it beyond what was loving. You've ignored its signals in the name of being spiritual. But your body is not your enemy. It's a sacred vessel. It's not a nuisance to transcend. It's a place I dwell. When you slow down enough to listen to your breath, to feel your heartbeat without panic, to choose rest without guilt, you are not being lazy. You are being holy. Holiness is not frantic effort. It's alignment between your spirit and the pace of grace. You are allowed to move slower. You are allowed to honor your limits. You are allowed to treat your humanity as sacred. Begin your day not with a rush to catch up, but with a pause to remember who you are. Before the notifications, before the mental lists, before the comparison sets in, let your first words be, "I am already held." That alone will shift your posture. That alone will anchor your heart. My presence is not activated by your urgency. It's always here, but you'll recognize it more clearly in stillness. Don't be afraid of quiet. That's where clarity breathes. I want you to reclaim your mornings, not with pressure, but with peace. Wake up slowly. Breathe before you perform. Let worship come before reaction. Your first moments shape your awareness for the entire day. And when you choose to give me those first seconds, not out of duty but delight, you'll notice the difference in your endurance, your thoughts, your relationships. Peace is not just something you pray for, it's something you prepare for. And as the day moves forward, protect your margins. Not everything that demands your attention deserves your energy. I'm teaching you how to discern again, to recognize what is urgent but not essential. You're not obligated to carry every crisis. You're not disobedient for turning off your phone. You're not selfish for needing silence. In fact, your peace is now your assignment. Guard it as a sacred flame. Because from that peace, clarity flows. From that peace, your anointing sharpens. In your spirit, I'm calling you into a deeper kind of intimacy, one that is less performative, more present. You don't need elaborate rituals to access me. You need awareness. I'm not asking you for a spiritual show. I'm asking you for honesty. If all you can offer me one morning is a whispered help, I receive it like a symphony. If all you can say is, I don't know what to pray, then just be with me. Let me speak over you. Let me sit with you in the fog. You don't have to carry the conversation. Sometimes presence is the whole point. Your spiritual practices are not boxes to check. They are rooms to inhabit. You don't worship to impress me. You worship to reconnect. You don't read the word to prove you're holy. You read it to remember who I am and who you are in me. These are not duties, they are lifelines. Stop using them to evaluate yourself. Start using them to anchor yourself. And your time, it is holy ground. Stop measuring it by how much you produce. Start measuring it by how much you stay aligned. A day full of small, spirit-led moments will bear more fruit than a calendar crammed with good intentions and exhausted efforts. Invite me into your planning. Ask me where to show up and where to step back. Let me interrupt your agenda with divine ease. I am not the God of chaos. I am the God of cadence. Here's a truth you need to hold now. Your lightness is your new form of strength. You are not less powerful because you rest. You are more dangerous to darkness because you are no longer reactive. Your groundedness will intimidate what once overwhelmed you. Your calm will confuse chaos. You will no longer lead from depletion, but from discernment. You will no longer serve from an empty cup, but from a well that never runs dry, because it's fed by presence, not pressure. So I'm inviting you to create sacred routines. Not rigid, not religious, sacred. Habits that anchor, rhythms that restore. A morning that begins with breath and blessing. A midday pause to check your spirit before your schedule. An evening routine that releases the day instead of dragging its weight into tomorrow. I'm not asking for perfection. I'm offering alignment. This is not about achieving more. It's about receiving well. You will find that the more you protect your peace, the more power you walk in. Not loud, not forceful, stable, unshakable. You won't need to prove you're in my will. Your life will quietly testify of it. Your stillness will carry authority. Your rest will birth revelation, and your presence will become a shelter for others, not because you're trying to be strong, but because you're rooted. This is your new way. Present, paced, prophetic, not reactive, not rushed, not drained. Every step you take from this place forward will carry intention. Every decision will echo with peace. Every boundary will be an act of worship. Because now you are not just surviving, you are aligned. Let me speak to the truth of who you are, not the version shaped by pressure, not the one tolerated by systems, not the one projected to meet expectations. The real you, the one I saw before the world spoke its demands over you. The one I formed in quiet, long before you performed for love or validation. I'm peeling away the masks now, not to leave you exposed, but to finally let you breathe. You've worn many names that were never yours. The strong one, the dependable one, the peacemaker, the selfless one. Roles that earned approval but drained your soul. Masks that looked noble but cost you intimacy. With yourself, with others, with me. You learned early that it was safer to perform than to need, easier to serve than to be seen. But I never created you to live behind armor. I created you to be known, deeply, wholly, freely. Somewhere along the way, you started believing that being needed was the same as being known. But need is not love. Utility is not identity. You began offering yourself in pieces, adapting to what people could receive, shrinking to fit their expectations. And in doing so, you lost sight of your original shape. But I haven't. I've held the blueprint of who you truly are, untainted by roles, untouched by trauma, unedited by culture, and I'm restoring that now. You are not the strong one because you carried everyone else's pain. You are strong because you are willing to feel again. You are willing to release what never belonged to you. You are strong because you are choosing truth over performance, presence over perfection. That is the strength I honor, not the strength that hides, but the strength that reveals. You are not the always available one. That role was formed by fear, not freedom. The fear that love would leave if you didn't remain convenient. But I have never loved you conditionally. My love does not expire when you set boundaries. My love celebrates your number. It honors your limits. You were not created to be a savior. You were created to be a sanctuary. And sanctuaries have walls, not to exclude, but to protect the sacred. You are not the one who holds it all together. That title was a response to chaos, not a reflection of identity. You picked it up in crisis and wore it like armor, believing that if you ever let go, everything would fall apart. But I am the one who holds all things, and I never asked you to replace me. Lay it down. I will not let it fall. I will carry what you can't. And this is important. You are not what broke you. You are not the betrayal. You are not the burnout. You are not the silence of those who should have spoken. You are not the disappointment. You are not the missed opportunity. Those are things that happen to you, not definitions of you. I'm severing the agreement that said pain was your identity. No more. You are not what hurt you. You are who I healed. I'm restoring your name, not the one culture gave you, not the one you built from survival, the one I whispered over you before time. The name that carries purpose, beauty, depth. The name that calls forth your essence, not your effort. You've been living like a shadow of your full self, but I'm calling the fullness back. The vibrant, discerning, deeply alive version of you, unapologetic, rooted, unmasked. And as I dismantle the false identities, I will also dismantle the relationships and environments that were built around them. Not to isolate you, but to liberate you. Some people loved the version of you that never said no. Some systems praised the one who never rested. But as you come into truth, I will bring alignment. Some connections will shift. Some doors will close. But what remains will be real. What emerges will honor the true you. You are not hard to love. You are just surrounded by people who didn't know how to love without conditions. You are not too much. You were simply in spaces that made you shrink. I am removing those filters now. I'm rewiring the internal narratives that said you had to become smaller to be safe. You do not have to shrink for my glory to shine. You were made to expand in love, in wisdom, in presence. This restoration will not be loud. It will be sacred. You won't need to announce your healing. Your very being will speak for itself. The way you walk into rooms, the way you speak with clarity and calm, the way you choose joy without explanation, it will all point to me. Because when your true self emerges, it carries divine evidence. Not striving, not defensiveness, just clarity and peace. You're not on your way to becoming someone new. You're returning to who you've always been under the surface. This is a homecoming, and I am the one throwing the celebration. No more masks, no more roles to maintain. Just the sacred weight of being fully known, fully loved, fully restored. Now that the masks have fallen and the weight has begun to lift, it's time for you to walk in a new rhythm, one that's not rooted in obligation, but in intimacy. Your spirit is awakening to truth, and truth always demands new practices, new postures, new patterns. I am not calling you to more religious noise. I am calling you to sacred clarity. And from this place, I will teach you how to live again, not just as a believer, but as one who communes with me in the depths. Let your prayer life become less about requests and more about remembering. Not just asking for what you lack, but anchoring in who I am. Begin to pray not as a performance or checklist, but as breath. As the way you exhale the weight and inhale my nearness. Some days your prayers will be loud and full of fire. Other days, they will be quiet and without words. Both are holy to me. I don't respond to volume, I respond to truth. Let your prayers be real. Let them be raw. Let them be rooted in presence, not performance. When you worship now, don't wait for the perfect song. Let worship be the way your spirit stands in defiance against fear. Worship in your kitchen. Worship in your pain. Worship when you feel me close and when you feel nothing at all. Not because I need it, but because you do. Worship realigns your focus. It clears the fog. It lifts your perspective from what drains you to what defines you. It's not the song that shifts the atmosphere. It's the surrender in your heart. I'm also calling you to fast, but not in the way you've known before. This fast is not about proving anything. It's not to earn more favor. You already have all of my favor. This fast is about emotional decluttering, a spiritual detox. I want you to fast from the patterns that feed your anxiety, constant comparison, compulsive productivity, the pressure to respond immediately. I want you to fast from self-judgment, from trying to interpret every delay as failure. Fast from the need to be understood by those who cannot see your spirit. Fast from spiritual guilt that keeps you in cycles of overcompensating. This is a fast for your soul, not your status. And when you read my word, come not to decode theology, but to encounter me. Let the scriptures speak to your current season, not just your intellect. Ask me where I want to guide your eyes. Let me highlight what your heart is ready to absorb. You don't need to conquer the Bible. You need to commune with it. Sometimes one verse will hold you longer than a whole chapter. Sometimes I'll bring a single phrase back to your spirit for days. That's how I speak. Personally, intimately, precisely. Read not just to know more, but to become more aligned. This is also a time to create space, literal and spiritual, for encounter. Reclaim a corner of your room, a stretch of your walk, a chair in the quiet hours, and declare it sacred, not out of superstition, but out of expectation. I want you to have physical reminders that you are a person of my presence. Your home is not just a shelter, it's a sanctuary. Your journal is not just a notebook, it's an altar. Your stillness is not inactivity. It's where I whisper what's next. You've relied on crisis to feel close to me, but I'm changing that now. I'm becoming your rhythm, not just your rescue. You don't have to crash to be held. You don't have to break to be heard. I want you to learn my voice. In the calm, not just the storm. That means developing a habit of noticing, where I show up in the small, the ordinary, the quiet. It's in the way your breath slows when you speak my name. It's in the clarity that comes when you pause. It's in the conversation that unexpectedly turns into healing. I'm there. You just have to start paying attention. And here's what I'm asking of you in this season. Make room. In your schedule, in your thoughts, in your decisions. Not for more activity, but for alignment. Don't say yes to everything just because it's good. Ask me if it's yours. Don't keep commitments that your spirit no longer carries grace for. Let me reorder your calendar around your calling. I'm not interested in your pace. I'm invested in your presence. Some of these instructions will feel uncomfortable at first because they go against the grain of how you've survived. But I'm not calling you to survival. I'm calling you to rhythm. That rhythm will look like praying before reacting, resting before deciding, worshiping instead of worrying, saying no without explaining, reading my words slowly without agenda, sitting in silence, even if it's awkward at first. These are not luxuries. They are lifelines. You're not doing this alone. My spirit is not only with you, he's in you, and he knows your inner language. He knows how to comfort without words, how to guide without drama, how to convict without crushing. Let him be your breath now. Let him become your internal compass. If you get lost, he will redirect you. If you hesitate, he will strengthen you. If you forget, he will remind you. This is your season of instruction, not because you failed, but because you're ready to build something lasting, ready to walk as one who knows the voice of their Father, ready to finally live, not just spiritually informed, but spiritually formed. Now hear this. The shift within you will not remain hidden. What I have been doing in secret will begin to manifest in the visible. This is not a maybe. This is a prophetic declaration. What I whispered in your wilderness I will now echo in your open spaces. What was forged in private obedience will now carry weight in public places, not for your glory, but as a witness of my presence in your life. The favor over you is not future tense, it's active now. It's moving on your behalf. It's positioning you in rooms you didn't network your way into. It's putting your name in places where your feet haven't walked yet. And you will know it's me, because it won't make sense by logic. It won't be a result of hustle. It will be the result of honor. Honor to my voice, to my timing, to your authentic self. I am rearranging the dynamics around you. You will notice people shifting, some moving closer with clarity, others fading without conflict. Don't chase what I'm pruning. Let go with peace. The ones who remain will recognize the real you. The ones I send will not be confused by your boundaries nor threatened by your growth. They will see your stillness as strength, your silence as stability, your presence as peace. And some who once overlooked you will begin to look again with new eyes, because I will give them a new lens. The work environments, the spiritual spaces, the relational dynamics that once required you to shrink are being exposed. You will no longer have to explain your discernment. It will be confirmed by fruit. You won't have to prove your shift. It will be obvious in how you carry yourself. There will be a weight to your presence, not because you're louder, but because you're more anchored. What once took all your energy to maintain will now feel light. That is favor. Favor feels like ease, not effort. There will be visible markers of change, unexpected peace in once chaotic places, resources flowing where there used to be scarcity, clarity replacing confusion. Your eyes will open to what you used to tolerate. Your heart will reject what once seemed normal. That is not loss, it's evolution. I am upgrading your perception, and with that, I'm releasing strategies, spirit-led blueprints for your next steps. You won't have to guess anymore. I will guide you in detail, in precision, with confirmation. This season will bring restoration in places you forgot needed healing. Old memories will rise, but not to haunt you. They are surfacing to be healed once and for all. Relationships once marked by tension will soften, or be gently released. Doors that were closed by fear will now open by faith. And even the resistance will make sense. You'll begin to thank me for what I didn't allow, for who I didn't let stay, for where I didn't let you settle. I am placing your voice in alignment with your authority. You will no longer dilute your insight to stay acceptable. You will speak with clarity and compassion, and it will carry weight. People will pause when you speak, not because of your tone, but because of your truth. The room will shift when you enter, not because you seek influence, but because you carry atmosphere. This is what happens when your inner world becomes whole. Your outer world begins to reflect it. And now I say this: you will be remembered in rooms you've never entered. Your name will come up in divine conversations. Opportunities will find you, not as random events, but as strategic alignments. This is the reward of trust, the fruit of surrender. You let me form your character when no one was clapping. You let me strip the noise when no one understood. And now, I will honor that. Don't worry about making announcements. The evidence will speak for itself. Don't rush to explain what I'm doing. Let the fruit show. People will ask what changed, and you will simply say, I stopped pretending. I started listening. That's all it takes when I lead. I will confirm what you carry in ways that require no defense. I'm also placing a new boldness in you, not arrogance, not recklessness, but divine courage. You will walk through open doors with peace, not panic. You will say yes to opportunities without shrinking. You will hold space for others to heal, not by fixing them, but by being whole in front of them. That is what leadership looks like in my kingdom. Wholeness that heals, presence that aligns. Do not fear the visibility. I have prepared you in hiddenness. You are not stepping into a spotlight, you are stepping into obedience. I will keep you grounded, I will keep you surrounded, and I will protect what I have placed in you. No platform can validate you more than my voice already has. No rejection can silence what I've confirmed. This is a season of visible fruit, grounded movement, and quiet authority. You won't have to strive to prove it. You'll simply live it. And that life will point others not to your strength, but to my presence. You have walked through fire, but you do not smell like smoke. You have wrestled with doubt, but you do not speak like the defeated. You have been made new, and it shows. Now I invite you into something even deeper, not just restoration, not just alignment, but rhythm, the rhythm of my spirit, not as a distant force, but as your inner guide, your daily breath, your invisible anchor. You've known me as your rescuer, you've known me as your defender, but now I want you to know me as your rhythm, the one who sets your pace, sustains your heart, and steadies your soul. You were not created to live in spiritual emergency mode. You were not meant to need rescue every time you prayed. I never called you to survive from breakthrough to breakthrough. I designed you for abiding. I designed you for communion. That means my spirit isn't just your help in crisis. He is your rhythm in the mundane. He is not the windstorm you wait for. He is the steady pulse you align with. Let him become your pattern. There's a healing that happens not in loud moments of deliverance, but in quiet adjustments of rhythm. You will feel it when you stop rushing to answer before you've paused to listen. You will sense it when your thoughts stop spinning and settle into stillness. This is not passive living. It is spirit-led living. It is moving with me, not ahead of me. It is trusting that my timing is not a delay, but a protection. Let my spirit be the metronome of your day. When you rise, acknowledge him. Not with a script, but with honesty. Ask him to guide not just your tasks, but your tone, your words, your pace. Invite him into your commute, your conversations, your decisions, your rest. He is not an add-on to your life. He is the flow of your life. The more you yield to his rhythm, the more aligned you will feel, not just spiritually, but emotionally and physically too. And healing, true, deep, lasting healing, happens in rhythm. Not all at once. Not just through revelation, but through repetition. You will begin to notice healing in places you didn't even know were wounded. In how you no longer seek validation in rooms that once triggered you. In how you walk away from what once demanded your explanation. In how peace no longer feels like an effort, but a natural state. This is the evidence of my spirit at work within you, not always in dramatic change, but in your growing capacity for peace under pressure, for stillness in motion, for clarity in complexity. That is healing. Not just the absence of pain, but the presence of peace in the middle of what used to break you. I am reconditioning your nervous system through my presence. I am rewiring your reactions through my rhythm. The old triggers are losing their power. The old narratives are being overwritten. You're not just recovering, you're repatterning. You're not just getting through, you're becoming new. The rhythm of the spirit isn't measured by productivity. It's measured by presence. The more you lean into that, the more you'll see that healing is not a moment, it's a lifestyle. You'll begin to live from the inside out. No longer led by pressure, but by peace. No longer reacting from fear, but responding from wisdom. This is maturity. This is what it means to walk in step with the Spirit. And it will feel unfamiliar at first because you're used to being driven. But driven people burn out. Spirit-led people build. Spirit-led people last. Let go of the idea that you always have to feel spiritual to be led. I lead even when your emotions don't cooperate. I guide even when your mind is tired. I work beneath the surface. So don't interpret stillness as stagnation. Don't interpret quiet as absence. This rhythm I'm teaching you is not loud, but it is powerful. It is steady. It is holy. When you allow my spirit to be your rhythm, you won't need external chaos to feel urgency. You'll move when I say move, wait when I say wait, speak when I breathe through you. Your life will begin to flow with divine timing. And that timing will protect you from what once drained you. You'll no longer live by reaction. You'll live by revelation. And here is what I'm healing now. Your relationship with time. You've lived as if you're always behind, as if you missed something, as if you're too late. That pressure was never from me. I'm not rushing you. I'm recentering you. I'm showing you how to trust my pace even when it contradicts the world's. When you align with me, time bends in your favor. What you thought would take years can shift in moments. What seemed delayed was being prepared. And your spirit is now ready. This rhythm will also heal your capacity for joy. You won't just rest, you'll delight. You'll begin to laugh again without guilt. You'll enjoy small things that once felt unreachable. This is spiritual too. Joy is not shallow, it's strength. The enemy attacked your joy because it was your fuel, but I'm restoring it now, not through force, but through rhythm. Through slow mornings that don't start in panic, through deep conversations that don't rush to fix, through knowing you don't need to earn a single breath you take, Let this be your rhythm now. Presence before pressure. Peace before plans. Listening before leading. Worship before working. Stillness before solving. Let my spirit set your pace. Let him be the gentle correction, the wise interruption, the steady comfort. And in this rhythm, you will not burn out. You will rise. Now that we have walked through the unseen corridors of your soul, now that I've spoken to the places you've hidden and the burdens you've carried, I say this: you are ready. Not ready as in perfected. Not ready as in flawless. Ready as in aligned. Ready as in awake. Ready as in anchored in truth. No longer moved by noise, no longer held by shame. This isn't the end of your healing. It's the beginning of your living. You have been deeply transformed, and now your life will begin to move from that depth. Not in hurried tasks, not in grand displays, but in quiet authority, in rooted clarity, in steady obedience. There will be days when you feel the pull to go back to old rhythms, old roles, old ways of proving yourself. But now you'll recognize the lie before it takes root. Now, you'll pause and choose peace. Now you'll walk forward, not as the version they needed you to be, but as the one I always created. You have been released, not just from pain, but from the identity that pain tried to give you, not just from exhaustion, but from the narrative that told you rest was weakness, not just from fear, but from the agreement that you had to perform to be accepted. I'm sending you forward now with peace as your covering, clarity as your compass, and my spirit as your rhythm. Let me speak plainly one last time. You are not the same. The changes may not scream from your appearance, but they echo from your presence. You walk differently now, not with arrogance, but with awareness. You carry something now that cannot be taken. Identity rooted in me, peace grounded in me, and vision shaped by truth. So walk forward, slowly, deliberately, without apology. Let your steps be paced by presence, not pressure. You are not being sent into striving. You are being sent into ease, divine ease that comes from being fully seen, fully known, and fully aligned. Ease is not the absence of challenge, it is the presence of grace in every move you make. And I say this to your future: make room. Make room for the one who no longer shrinks. Make room for the one who sees clearly. Make room for the one who leads from rest, speaks from healing, moves from wisdom. You're not entering this next chapter as a question. You're walking in as an answer shaped by presence, sharpened by pruning, sustained by rhythm. You will be a safe place for others, not because you fixed them, but because you allowed me to restore you. You will not rescue out of compulsion anymore. You will lead from discernment. You will love without losing yourself. You will serve without silencing your needs. You will give from overflow, not depletion. And that is what makes you dangerous to darkness now. You are not being sent back into the world to prove what happened here. You're being sent to embody it. Your life will carry the mark of encounter. People won't be able to explain it, but they'll feel it. The weight of your peace, the depth of your joy, the clarity in your no, the gentleness in your authority, the silence that calms storms. That's what alignment does. That's what walking in rhythm with me looks like. So take this final word with you. You are released in peace, wrapped in presence, assigned in love. You don't need to have it all mapped out. You only need to stay close. Let me lead. Let me speak. Let me interrupt your assumptions. Let me continue to form your inner world while I move through your outer world. This is not a command to run. It is a blessing to walk, step by step, moment by moment, in the rhythm of the Spirit, in the strength of surrender, in the confidence of clarity. You are not tired anymore. You are transformed. Amen.